Now on CoastTV News.
It is day 41 of the government shutdown, the progress being made in Washington, and what people on the coast think about a new funding bill.
Deadly crash as multiple people killed on Delaware highways, what drivers are blaming.
One online group in Georgetown says homelessness is getting out of control. Why they're calling on town leaders to step up.
And we've been tracking a serious drop in the temps by 18 degrees, so the crazy cold continues.
This is CoastTV News at 5.
A breakthrough in the Senate as the longest government shutdown in history continues. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. We begin tonight with what could be the beginning of the end to the government shutdown.
Last night, 8 Democrats voted in favor of a funding bill that would reopen the government. CoastTV News reporter and anchor Christina DiRobertis in our newsroom. Christina, people on the coast are divided on whether this new bill should pass.
Maddie, and like you said, 8 Democratic senators voted in favor of this new bill, but that does not include any senators from Maryland or Delaware. In our region, it was only Democratic Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia to vote yes last night. We also spoke with people in Milton, Ocean City today about this. Some of them say they understand why Democrats are holding out, but others say a compromise needs to come sooner rather than later.
I understand them holding out because, once again, one of the basic human rights is health care.
I think it's wrong. I mean, they need to put the politics aside and help the people. And, they're supposed to be able to get together and work on things, discuss it and come up with a program that's going to work for everybody.
Now, if the bill does pass the Senate, it then has to go to the House, and Delaware's lone Congresswoman Sarah McBride has already said she will not support it. Back to you guys.
And there is light at the end of the tunnel, getting brighter as those moderate Democrats, including Tim Kaine, are the ones who broke with party leaders to strike a deal to open the government.
The agreement has Democrats divided because the deal doesn't get the extension for Obamacare subsidies that the party was holding out for. But as NBC's Melanie Zanona shows us, it does get relief for some others.
After 41 days, the end to the longest government shutdown in U.S. history could be near.
Let's get it done, get it over to the House.
The Senate will vote this week on a deal that includes funding the government through the end of January and funding SNAP, the federal program that helps low-income families buy food, until next October. And all those federal employees who lost their jobs during the shutdown will now get them back. But what's not included? Extending subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, the reason Democrats held out in the first place. They did get a promise to vote on the subsidies by mid-December.
If they do choose not to come to the table, they can own the disastrous premium increases that will continue to rise.
But not all Democrats are behind this deal.
It fails to do anything of substance to fix America's health care crisis.
If the bill passes the Senate, it now goes to the House, whose members have been out for 6 weeks.
You need to begin right now returning to the Hill. We have to do this as quickly as possible.
But Speaker Mike Johnson won't promise to bring a vote on ACA subsidies. Democrats say the fight isn't over.
We'll continue that fight today, tomorrow, this week, this month, next month, this year, next year.
The shutdown has caused pain for millions of Americans. For families who struggle to make ends meet, to travelers facing long lines at the airports and canceled flights. The government has slashed flights by 4% over the weekend and will cut more this week due to traffic controller shortages. The stress and fatigue taking a toll on those who patrol the skies.
The fatigue has led to the erosion of safety and the increased risk every day that this shutdown drags on.
President Trump slammed air traffic controllers who took time off during the shutdown, but he did raise the prospect of $10,000 bonuses for those who didn't. But even before the shutdown, there has been a shortage of ATC workers, with the Federal Aviation Administration working for years to try to recruit more workers. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
This brings us right into our CoastTV poll. We want to know what matters most in a shutdown deal.
Let's take a look at the results so far. You can see 48% say federal worker pay, 40% say health care help, 7% say bipartisan support, and 5% say SNAP benefits.
And if you haven't voted yet, it's easy to do. Just go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. You can also leave a comment. We're taking a live look into Lewis right now. Pretty night out there, but it's a cold night out there as we check in with our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Well, to be quite honest, it is not a figment of your imagination. It is that kind of cold that reminds you of winter, not necessarily fall. But right now we're at 47 degrees in Lewis under mostly clear skies. We'll see cloud cover thickening up a bit for us by 9 o'clock as we fall into the lower 40s, but we're going to fall a lot lower than that. Look, we are already dipped by 16 to even 18 degrees lower right now than we were just 24 hours ago. So that cold is real, and we have little to no kind of cloud cover in place to keep us warm overnight. So yeah, the chill's going to kick in. Now let's add on top of that hero sandwich of cold a layer of winds, now going from a gale wind watch to a gale wind warning. So we're talking about 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts along the entire beach area for the entire Delmarva Peninsula. And then on top of that, we still have an active freeze warning in effect until Tuesday morning for the folks that are in Chincoteague. And I know you're already tired of the cold, but guess what? I'm just getting started.
Thank you, Paul. Right now, you're looking at Route 1 just south of Hudson Road, not far from where police say a chain reaction crash killed 2 people Friday afternoon. Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Milton. Emma, local drivers you talked to say the state's busiest highways, they're dangerous.
Charlie, we spoke with drivers today who travel Route 1 all the time. They say it's people going too fast or just too much traffic from too much growth or distracted driving. In fact, we even spoke with people who say they just avoid Delaware highways altogether. On Route 1, a dump truck smashed into another car, leading to a chain reaction of accidents Friday that ended with 2 deaths and several injuries, according to police. Meanwhile, in Millsboro, at almost the exact same time, 2:30 Friday afternoon, another man was killed in a car crash on Route 24 near Layton Davis Road. It happened after police say he crossed the center line for a reason still under investigation and hit another vehicle head on. We spoke with drivers who worry that too many people are on the road and too many of those drivers aren't paying attention.
I think with just the distracted driving and the fact that we're building so rapidly in Sussex County that, hopefully they're planning for the infrastructure.
We reached out to Delaware State Police to see if the driver of the dump truck that started the crash here has been charged. Police say they are still investigating the cause of the crash. Reporting live here in Milton, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
A mother from Salisbury has been sentenced for helping her son after a deadly shooting. Prosecutors say 38-year-old Keisha Elliott tried to hide her son, Michael Elliott, after police say he murdered 16-year-old Josiah Johnson outside Pizza City in April 2023. Keisha pleaded guilty to accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison, but 5 years are suspended.
The Harry K. Foundation with the Food Bank of Delaware and Purdue Farms say they will be giving out 1,000 Thanksgiving meal boxes as part of the annual Thanksgiving for All initiative on Wednesday, November 12th. They say local school representatives will be picking up the boxes from the Milford branch of the Food Bank of Delaware for distribution to pre-identified families who are at risk of going without a Thanksgiving meal. One online group in Georgetown is urging town leaders to fix growing homelessness issues. This comes as officials say they've seen increases in the homeless population over the last few years. This is the group. It's called Make Georgetown Great Again. The page's admin says they started the group to hold town leaders accountable and find solutions. They say not every homeless person in Georgetown is causing issues, but they say some are creating an unsafe environment and the town needs to do something about it. Town leaders say they are working with state and local groups to increase support systems and affordable housing. However, they say things like panhandling are protected under the First Amendment.
We want them to get and use the services that we have to help them. If they're not willing to take those services, we do not feel obligated to take care of you or deal with your lifestyle.
Well, I don't think everything that government does is always visible. So I think there's things that happen that move in the right direction and are done very thoughtfully and purposefully.
Georgetown's town council is going over some affordable housing projects. It's tonight's meeting at 6:45 p.m. That includes a disaster housing program with the state and zoning permits for an affordable cottage community. First responders work on a prop canine, how police are training for emergency responses.
And we're bracing for more freezing conditions as that cutting cold just continues on.
But first, a repaving project in Salisbury. Not everyone happy about it. Up next.
This is Coast TV News at 5.
Some people are pushing back on repaving a rainbow crosswalk in Salisbury.
PFLAG, an organization that supports the LGBTQ community, first painted those crosswalks in 2018. But Salisbury Mayor Randy Taylor says they have to go back to a neutral design, citing a previous Supreme Court ruling. Others say that's hurtful.
Viewpoint discrimination is allowing there to be, preferential political or messages in the walkways, not dissimilar to other messages like NRA or. So it's saying if you're going to do that, you're going to have to let other people do the same thing. We're just not willing to go down that road.
It's unfortunate that that kind of bigotry is leading our city, and I just don't agree with it.
The crosswalks are scheduled to be milled tomorrow and then repaved this week. Mayor Taylor says there are no plans to allow the crosswalks to be repainted with any artistic angles.
Coming up next, Paul Williams in our First Alert Weather Center with our full forecast.
I mean, you don't need a meteorologist to help you out with this one, but boy, did it get cold quick, right? And believe it or not, we're going to tank even more with the temperatures tonight going into tomorrow. In Ocean View right now, it's 47 degrees. We're going to drop to 38 as early as 9 o'clock this evening, and that's just the half of it. We're going a lot lower than that, 35 just generally speaking for the entire Delmarva Peninsula, but I suspect we're going to dip even below that number as well. We're currently at 47 degrees uniformly in places like Rehoboth, Long Beach, Millsboro, Georgetown, all the way over towards Laurel, and everybody's under the same general impression. Yeah, temperatures have dropped crazy cold, okay? We have a 16-degree drop in temperature from 24 hours ago in Georgetown and Ocean City alone, an 18-degree drop in Easton, just as an example of how dramatic things have changed. Now, when you put on top of that winds picking up momentum along with the temperature dropping, whew, that's the only way you can describe it. So we've gone from a gale watch to a gale wind warning at Slaughter Beach, Broadkill Beach. This is talking about 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts. We've upgraded the gale wind watch to a warning for Lewis, Rehoboth Beach, Ocean View down towards Fenwick Island, and along all of Highway 1, Ocean City, all the way down towards Chincoteague. And speaking of Chincoteague, yeah, winter chicken dinner for those folks. They're still under a freeze warning, actually. We aren't in Sussex County, which sounds a little fishy to me from the National Weather Service, but these are two different offices. This one is actually to the south in Wakesville. The other one is coming out of Mount Holly. But no matter where you're coming from, temperature is going to be well into the freezing, if not below freezing category. Veterans Day celebrations should more than likely move indoors, okay? We'll have temperatures in the 40s if we're lucky. I don't think we're going to crack 50 degrees for Veterans Day. It's still going to be a nice day. No precipitation, so it's not going to be a raw and cold day. But the winds are not going to help out with that temperature drop. 29 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts were recorded today. Right now, winds are continuing to knife out of the northwest at about 18 miles per hour. But just to kind of give you a feel as to what's going to happen, even when you're in the lower 30s, I mean, we're looking at a wind chill of 22 degrees, and this is the best case scenario for tomorrow. I actually think it's going to drop to 18 or below. But we're looking at our future fields going into Tuesday. Temperatures is going to feel like 20, then it's going to warm to maybe 32 degrees with the wind chill factor. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. And then as you go into most of the areas, the winds are going to be whipping at about 36, possibly 40 miles per hour for all the beaches, and temperatures in the 40s. So that's a combination that's far from comfortable. 32 for Tuesday morning, cleared, and then we go into the 40s Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday, we start off in the 30s easily everywhere. And then we're barely doing anything beyond that. So we're going to stay cool no matter what. So we're looking for a cutting chill for tonight, slow thawing for tomorrow in 46, if we're lucky, in 58, just a tad warmer by Wednesday. Finally, here's a look at the extended forecast. Oh yeah, we're going to stay with that winter feel till we get to, Sunday.
Well, thank you, Paul. We always appreciate it. Tidal Health says they will be hosting a free advanced care planning webinar that'll help people make decisions about future medical treatment on Tuesday, November 11th at 1 p.m. The session will help participants consider questions about their health care preferences in the event of an unexpected illness or injury, including what care they would want and who they would choose to make medical decisions on their behalf, according to Tidal Health. Tidal Health says that they encourage adults of all ages to participate, noting that serious accidents or illness, that can happen at any time.
Take a look at this. First responders in Ocean View doing a training exercise for canine injury scenarios. Today, the Ocean View Police Department partnered with TACMed Solutions to host a demonstrative session for emergency situations. Key here, using a fake canine. The prop canine was used today to allow handlers to simulate experiences for if their buddies get hurt in the field, like severe bleeding or limb loss.
Sergeant Justin Hopkins says that the training session was imperative as his service animal feels like family.
I couldn't imagine if something happened to my dog and I'm left in a position where I feel helpless, where I can't do anything. So knowing that I can do something to maybe prevent serious long-term injury or death, that makes me feel a lot better personally.
Hopkins said having the training in their department instead of somewhere off-site was very beneficial.
Coming up tonight on DSN, your game of the night at 8 p.m. UMES men's basketball hosting Cheney University, then catch the final score at 10:30. And coming up, SNAP benefits now being released in Virginia. What this means for families, stay tuned on CoastTV News at 5.
Virginia is pausing its emergency food program because Governor Glenn Youngkin says the federal government will release the remaining SNAP benefits needed for Virginians. The state had started issuing emergency payments when SNAP funding was up in the air. Payments in Virginia are now expected by Thursday.
The Supreme Court agreed Monday to decide whether states may count mail-in ballots received after Election Day. They're taking up a Republican-led lawsuit that could affect election laws in more than a dozen states across the country. 15 states allow regular mail-in ballots to be accepted after Election Day. The case centering on a Mississippi law passed during the pandemic that let ballots come in up to 5 days late as long as they are postmarked by Election Day. The Republican National Committee and others claim the provision violated a federal law that fixes the date for an election.
The U.S. Supreme Court turned down a chance to overturn its precedent that recognizes a constitutional right to same-sex marriage. The appeal denied by justices was from Kim Davis. You might remember she was that former Kentucky county clerk who refused to issue marriage licenses after the 2015 ruling. She's facing hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees and damages for not issuing those licenses.
A new study has found that heavy drinking can cause an earlier and more severe stroke. Researchers defined heavy alcohol use as regularly consuming at least 3 drinks per day. That is linked to bleeding strokes, more severe brain bleeds, and earlier long-term brain damage. The study's lead author said people who drank an average of 3 glasses of alcohol per day had their brain bleeds on an average of 11 years younger than those compared to people who were drinking less alcohol.
Pregnant women face a greater risk of murder, especially when guns are in the picture. According to a study in JAMA Network Open, mothers-to-be are 37% more likely to be killed by a gun than non-expectant women. Researchers say the greatest risk is for women who are between 20 and 24 years old. Here's a live look outside into Lewis as we take one more check of your chilly forecast after this.
Coming up new on CoastTV News at 6, Delaware lawmakers addressing a massive budget gap. What lawmakers intend to do, new at 6.
All right, well, we intend to stay cold for the rest of the night. To be quite honest, temperatures are going to slip into the 30s as early as 9 o'clock. We have a freeze warning in effect for the folks in Chincoteague. And then this gale wind warning, we're talking about 45-mile-per-hour winds. That's not helping our plight and feeling any warmer because you're putting a 40-mile-per-hour wind on top of temperatures dropping like crazy. Yeah, grab the coat. Terry from Millsboro, you're our umbrella winner. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. It's updated 24 hours a day. Sponsored by the law office of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And, you know, as I show this 10-day forecast, you can't act like you didn't know it wasn't coming.
But that 35 is a little bit up from where it was yesterday. I pay attention.
Just a little bit up. A little bit when it's this cold means a lot.
Seriously, yeah.
It's because I lost too many friends.
35 is still 35, so we will be ready. Thank you, Paul, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 5.
For more news, for more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
Inside Edition is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 6. Have a great evening.